Today, we've got a married couple with an incredible story. In not even their first full year on Amazon, they've grossed over $500,000. And in not even their first full month on TikTok Shop, they've grossed over $250,000. And they're going to share how it's possible to set up a TikTok Shop account in only 10 minutes. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Are you browsing a Shopify, Walmart, Etsy, Alibaba, or Pinterest page and maybe you see a cool product that you want to get some more data on? Well, while you're on those pages, you can actually use the Helium 10 Chrome extension Demand Analyzer to get instant data about what's happening on Amazon for those keywords on these other websites. Or maybe you want to then follow up and get an actual supplier quote from a company on Alibaba.com in order to see if you can get this product produced. You can do that also with the Helium 10 Demand Analyzer. Both of these are part of the Helium 10 Chrome extension, which you can download for free at h10.me/extension. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Serious Sellers Podcast by Helium 10. I'm your host, Bradley Sutton, and this is the show that's a completely BS-free, unscripted, and unrehearsed organic conversation about serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the e-commerce world. We've got a husband and wife dynamic serious seller duo here for the first time on the show, the Double J crew, Josh and Jenna. How's it going, guys?
Good. Going pretty well. Thanks
Good.
for having us.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, where are you guys located?
We are right outside Philly.
Okay, so you're on the East Coast, all right? And is that where you guys were born and raised, or are you transplants from somewhere else?
So I'm a transplant. He is born and raised out here. I'm originally from the Midwest, the suburbs of Chicago.
In West Philadelphia, born and raised. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Brought me back.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, she could sing it with you, the whole thing.
Oh, yes, I could. We met in college out here, and I kind of fell in love with the East Coast, so we knew we wanted to raise our kids out here. So yeah, and then we ended up out here.
You fell in love with him, and then you fell in love with the East Coast. Okay, but
right, yes.
Okay, in that order there.
Exactly.
What college did you guys meet?
We went to Villanova.
Villanova. Okay, yes. I knew one of my favorite Clippers was Kerry Kittles way back in the 90s.
Yeah, 85 year they won. Yeah.
Yep. So the reason I know him is funny. Here's just a really crazy story. You guys may or may not know I used to be a Zumba fitness influencer, and my channel that I created on Zumba that had 30 million views. It was called Crazy Sock TV, and I created that. It's kind of like a branding kind of thing. I wanted to be memorable, so that people remember it was my brand, and just not to be some random person dancing Zumba, there's a million people. So what I would do is I would have a crazy one sock on one leg and then one sock on an arm. And that was what I came up with. It was always a crazy sock. But where I originally got that idea was Kerry Kittles. He would just have one sock he would play with when he played with the Clippers, which is my team. And I'm like, that is the most weirdest thing I've ever seen. I'm going to roll with that idea. And that went to tens of millions of Zumba video views. And so, yeah, that's my Villanova tie right there. Anyways, all right. So you guys, what did each of you major in there? My
bachelor's was in marketing, and he was finance.
Math and finance.
Yeah, I mean, he took everything for fun. Math, he loves math. So like that, my fun classes were like astronomy, and his were derivatives and anything he could with math.
What did you guys do after graduation? Then did you either of you enter into that world that you guys were studying?
We did a little bit. So I did marketing for my dad's financial planning firm. And then I decided I wanted to be a teacher. So I went back, I got my master's of education, went down that route. And then we were actually living in Chicago for the beginning of our first 4 years. Yeah. And then we had our twins and moved back out to the East Coast. And I definitely took a good break there. For like the better part of a decade, and didn't really jump back into anything until this. I mean, not really fully into anything until this.
And then Josh, what were you doing all this time? I'm assuming you were the income then if she was taking a break. So what were you doing?
Yep. All sorts of things in finance.
Consulting and everything.
So
working too many hours a week.
Flying 100,000 miles a year, like domestically only, which you probably fly that in 4 trips, but around the world, domestically, that's a harder target to hit.
So yeah, it doesn't sound like an exciting job. So what was the thought process on like how you guys ended up with e-commerce? Was it just like, all right, I don't want to do this always, or were you looking for a side hustle, or how do you go from the finance and marketing world and the stay-at-home, world to switch to e-commerce?
So, I mean, that was definitely part of it, the time constraints. And I think the idea that there could be some passive component to e-com was interesting. But I really was, I mean, Josh knows, I was admiring e-com for like the better part of a decade. I was that person that everything I looked at, I was like, oh, I could create this. I can make it better. Even with educational stuff and tools and resources, I was making my own and kind of like just admiring it from afar and saying, when it's the right time, then I'll go into it. Because we are not like the dip your toe in type of people. We are like the 50-foot cannonball, jump all in. It's not like we're just going to try, like a product and see how it goes. I knew when we were going to go in, it was going to be all in. So I was waiting for life to slow down. And it was really like actually the craziest, busiest time of our life. And I kind of just had this like epiphany that life doesn't really slow down, no matter how old your kids get. So if I don't do it now, it's probably now or never. And I mean, I can remember, I think it was like a month after we got out of the hospital with my son. So our oldest son has epilepsy, and he had about a year of failed anti-seizure meds and treatments. And it was just in and out of the hospital. And they eventually came up. So they have this all over the country, but it's the medical ketogenic diet for epilepsy. So they put him on that, and we had to go to the hospital and we had to learn all about it. And I kind of had this moment of, I was like, this is more intense and exhausting than twins. This has been my dream forever. I'm like, if I don't jump in now, I'm never going to do it.
Well, was there something that made you, that's still not a natural thing to just like jump into? Like, did you get hit with an ad somewhere, or were you searching how to make money at home, or how did you land on e-com?
So I definitely found a couple ads there, because I did take a couple courses that were teaching you how you can sell on Amazon. And I had already had ideas, and I kind of thought selling on Amazon, I didn't understand the process of it. So I was like, all right, so I think I can figure this out. There's courses to do it. So I took the courses, I downloaded like a ton of podcasts, and he knew I kind of like dug into this hole of like, just learning and education. And I didn't want to bring it to him until I was like,
you're doing great.
Yeah, you're doing great. You're doing your own thing. Like I said, we're not like a dip your toe in type of person. I didn't want to bring it to him until I thought this is something he would like too. So I really just kind of like dug in on the courses, and I already knew the things I wanted to create, but I didn't understand like the science, the research behind it. And it's funny, we were talking about this. I was like, okay, so I listened to your Serious Sellers podcast before I could understand 10% of what you said. And I remember like listening to one of your podcasts and a few others like it. And I was like, this is amazing. This part I don't understand. Creating, design, innovation, I understand. The numbers, the research.
What year are we talking, by the way, about more or less? 2019, 2020, 2021? Last year?
Fall of...
Like 2022?
Fall 2022, yeah.
Wow.
Fall 2022, yeah. So I listened to one of your episodes and a couple others, and I was like, oh my goodness, Josh would love this. There's software, there's research, there's numbers that can go into this. So basically I hooked him by showing him that kind of stuff. I was like, look, if you can do the product research and you can tell me the numbers and you can do this, I will design and create the products. And look, they have software like Helium 10. He was like lit up. He's like, this is fantastic. I can play. I mean, he was playing around in it before we even had our first product, like that we were yeah, like before we even really knew if we were gonna do a product yet. And
now I'm like, now we're here. What happened?
Yeah, so I hooked him with that kind of stuff. We're very different in terms of like our interests and what we like, and I think it actually helps in this industry. So, that's. I knew I wanted to for a long time. I don't think he knew he wanted to until he saw that aspect of the business that I could kind of hook him in.
So at this time, you still weren't working yourself. Only Josh was.
I've done a lot of things on the side, like I would just say side jobs and stuff. Like, I've done network marketing and coaching and stuff like that.
Coaching sports. Sorry.
Yes. Yeah.
What sport did you coach?
Volleyball. I played volleyball in college, so I just coached here and there whenever I could, camps, and helped out schools and stuff.
But you had the kind of bandwidth. But Josh, traveling, everything. If it was up to him, it probably might not have gotten done because he was pretty busy then. So that's an important thing to know. Like, hey, maybe it's the husband, maybe it's the wife, but you got to have somebody who's able to dedicate some time to this, or else you might never get started. So then you guys started dipping yourselves into to courses, and now the very first product that you launched. Are you still selling that product now?
Yeah. It's of our FBA product. We launched our first ones for KDP books, and then our first product we launched last summer.
Wait, talk about that for a second. What made you go that route?
So KDP, it's inexpensive, and I already was creating designs and things like that, and I knew that was something that we could do while we're learning, because when we wanted to launch products, we knew that we wanted to launch more than one at a time. And we wanted to make sure we had the research into it. And we knew they were going to take a while, especially coming up to, the timing of the year that we were looking at sourcing products was a little tricky. It was January, right?
Yeah, it was
December, January. Yeah.
A year ago was when we launched our first KDP book in February of last year. And it was really based on, she knew the audience that she wanted to serve, but we had to test the content. And we felt like KDP was a good place to test the content of like a meal planner and fitness type trackers and budget planner, and then on the education side, cursive workbooks and things of that nature. Because when you look at the audience that she wanted to serve, my research coming out of it was trying to find products that interested or that that audience wanted at the time. And so that's why we used KDP, is we got to kind of test content, and then we also got to test PPC, play with it and learn it, and in a real experimental way, instead of with an FBA product that was going to require a large upfront investment in inventory and all that kind of stuff. And we had started that process, but it takes a while.
So, but basically you use a lot of the similar strategies, like using Helium-10 to see demand, and that's how you like landed on what KDP thing you were going to launch and how to optimize your listing, things like that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
now, at what point then were you like, hey, no, I want to do physical products?
So some of our designs that went into the KDP books are actually used in our physical products. We edited them, made them a little bit better. We were able to use some reviews. So, for example, we have a meal planner, fitness tracker, or I think we called it the Advanced Meal Planner and Fitness Tracker in KDP. And then we were able to make some improvements on that to make it into one of our vegan leather planners. But yeah, so like those designs took me a lot of time to focus on and creating those. So we just had to make some adjustments to make those doable. And we were able to get samples and stuff. As we put out that KDP book, we were getting samples because we knew we wanted to eventually make it in FBA. We knew that there was more money, obviously, in FBA than KDP.
Were you able to do things by going, directly to somebody who actually physically produced this that was not an option with KDP, like a certain kind of cover or something like that you just literally could not even do KDP? What are some of those things?
The KDP books, you can only do paperback or hardcover. You can have limited size. And as you know, with FBA, you can do anything you want, really. I mean, you can create any material, cover things. In our Meal Planner Fitness Tracker, one of the things that I wanted was that they could tear off their grocery list and take it with them. You can't have perforated pages in a KDP book. And it's also, I think, where you can get seen on KDP versus you're shown everywhere on Amazon, right? And isn't KDP, I believe it's just the books that you're shown in. Yeah,
you're shown in search to an extent, but it's an ISBN identified product, not an ASIN, not a traditional like ASIN product. So yeah, you're definitely limited as to where you show up.
Do you use it kind of like as an incubator almost for some of your FBA? Like if it really takes off with KDP, then that's what you maybe double down on and make a physical copy?
I will say yes. And our most successful product, which we launched in December, that most recently, fortunately exploded on like TikTok and such, is really a culmination of like a case study in that. It's a set of handwriting workbooks that have disappearing ink and such. And most of that content, she built over time, and we released in a variety of different like KDP workbooks while she was, we kind of always in mind had, man, it would be great to do this one thing. The keyword always looked great. There were so many things about it that we felt like we could improve, and we were so excited about it, but we knew it would take a lot of time. And KDP's content kind of feeling and seeing how things worked was really a huge part of the design over like a 9-month period before we released those in December.
And we're still using our KDP designs into new things. We have our newest product coming out, the Bible verse mapping, that we're working on getting those out by spring, and they were in KDP, and now we're able to get those in a linen cover, a different thing for spring, for FBA products too.
What's your average retail price on the KDP side, and then of those, how much do you take home?
Well, our average, every one of our products on KDP is $9.99, except for the homeschool planner, which is $14.99, and on the products that are call it $10. On the products that are $10, we take home about $2.60 a sale, and then on the homeschool planner, we take home about $3.80, 90 cents, give or take.
And then, are you doing PPC for this at all, or it's just all organic?
Yeah, we do. I think our total PPC spend on KDP is about $15 a day, maybe. So it's small. Obviously, it's all relative, but that $1,600 a month is net of, PPC charges specifically. So it's a pretty low ACOS process, as long as you don't get sucked into chasing physical products. If you stay in your lane, recognize that you're a KDP product, and not try to go after FBA products. Not that I ever tried that. Then you can do fine.
It's separate logon for KDP and your Seller Central, because that's kind of like a different. It's not Seller Central, I know, but how different is the interface for advertising? I've never. I know Shivali, probably knows this, but I've never done advertising for KDP. Is it very similar? Like you can do phrase match and sponsor brand campaigns, or
it's almost identical now.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. Were you selling the entirety of 2023, or did you start later, not January?
KDP, our first one was February, and then our second one was like April, and then our first FBA product was July 1.
Okay, so not a full year of KDP, not a full year, obviously, of FBA. What would you say if you were to combine the gross sales of both on Amazon only for your planners and things? What would you say it was total at the end of the year? In
the past year? Since
we haven't been out a year, but yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So total
2023.
About 400,000.
Are you still doing your day job, or did you at some point last year go all in on the e-com, Josh?
Yeah, no, it took about like 8 days to realize that there's no chance I was going to not be able to like go all in into this. It was too much fun.
That was and the hours you worked and the time you worked. I mean, not to say that you don't right now, whereas we're starting everything up, but
yeah. I mean,
we're trying to launch a good amount of stuff.
It's a lot different being on a plane 100,000 miles a year than it is being, up late at night talking with manufacturers or something, but still in your own house. It's a little different.
Was this your first year in a few years that you didn't make your high status on your travel?
I absolutely.
Probably second year.
It was the second year, but it was the first year I haven't been on an airplane in my entire life. Really?
That was amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
When was?
I guess so. Yeah. No, we've really,
because after COVID, we actually started driving everywhere. Like if we went somewhere,
our kids love it too.
The kids like it, and frankly, it's fun for the two of us.
And the things we like to do. We love to go to the mountains and snowboard. They're all close enough here. The ocean, the beach, all that stuff is driving distance from here. Which, growing up in the Midwest, that's not possible. Yeah. So I love that we can just get to anything within a couple hours.
By the way, it was great story. We're in the Midwest and after school, and she's like, "Oh, you can snowboard here," and I was like, "Awesome, where?" And she's like, "I'll take you this place," and we're driving, and the nav, those old TomTom things, right? Is like
this is when we lived in Chicago, right after we got married.
2 miles, you're at your destination, and I'm like, Jen, I can see about 15 miles in any direction right now. There is nowhere to actually. I don't believe. I want to believe you.
It's not so much snowboarding in the Midwest as it is like a downward hill.
Yeah, I was like, this is like a sled hill.
We found a hill somewhere that we could turn into something. Yeah. So yeah, we like the mountains out here.
Yeah, we don't got much of that here exactly in my town where I live, a few miles from the beach here in California. But all right, now at what point did you guys discover TikTok Shop?
One of your Serious Seller podcasts in the fall, you had on a creator who did a video that went viral for I think one of Lizzie's products, but I forget exactly which one it was. Might have been the bodysuit, one of them. But you had someone on that was explaining kind of how some of it worked, and it was super intriguing. And then we went to the meeting in New York where Lizzie spoke, and Jenna drove home
and you set
from
it up
New York
on the way.
City, and I set up our TikTok shop in the car on the hotspot.
What they're talking about, guys, by the way, is we have they're Helium 10 Elite members, and we have a quarterly in-person workshop for Helium 10 Elite members, and we did one in New York, and we brought somebody, Elizabeth, who's been on the podcast before, talking about TikTok Shop, and she kind of broke down exactly what she did. And I remember you guys at that, it was like light bulbs were going off in your head as you guys were watching. We're like, wait a minute, we've got a perfect kind of product that would do well on TikTok Shop. So then you got home, or you said on the way home, you weren't even home yet. You're already setting it up on the way home in the car.
Yeah.
I feel like
in the car, because the kids were with my parents, their grandparents.
we had a kid for a couple days, but you like literally on the drive. I mean, what is it? It's less than 3 hours from New York to Philly.
It's a couple hours.
He was done by the time we got back. He's like, "We're set up. Let's go." I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Now, at what point there were you like, "Oh man, we're on to something"? Like, what was your first kind of like viral day or something?
You
remember that?
Frankly, Christmas was our first viral day. On Christmas Day, I had alerts on, like sale alerts on TikTok, because we didn't get too many before that. So we had sales, but not compared to Amazon.
Very few.
And so our phone, I'm like, it's Christmas. Leave me alone. Who is bothering me? And I was like, not that many family and friends are trying to say Merry Christmas. And so it was sales, and we had no idea what was going on. And it was a, video that was about 10 seconds long that someone had posted that had picked up and had, 500,000 views that day and 1 million by the next. And the following day sold us out of our meal planners. It was about 500 on TikTok and about 800 on Amazon. So at that point,
sold out in like 2 days.
Yeah, it generated more Amazon sales than TikTok Shop, even though it was from TikTok Shop for that first product.
Yeah. As well as our website.
So you didn't have like a link. It was just like it got sold out, and then people were just trying to search for it on Amazon, to try and get it, and they found your product through there.
Yep.
And our website.
Wow. Yeah, and we found where they found it was banner ads, like sponsored display ads, because they recognized the product. So if they would search for something meal planner or fitness or whatever, our banner ads had like a 6% ACOS. I remember we were looking at them and I was like, oh, that's what, like they didn't necessarily know what to search, because I didn't really think about it at the time. We just had the title as Graceful by Design, Meal Planner, Fitness Tracker or something. Whereas all of the conversions, PPC, were happening from there. And that's when we kind of realized, there's something to this, to your point about your question about when did we realize like this was a thing. When we realized how well these markets could play off each other and help each other, that was when that day, Christmas and the day after, is when I was like, oh yeah, oh wow, like this is a thing.
I think you were pretty excited about it pretty early though.
Yeah, I was excited.
I'm the pessimist. I was the one that was like, I don't know. I mean, we just had our second product go viral even more so, and I'm still like, I don't know should we get the inventory? Is it going to repeat?
Yeah, it probably won't work. Yeah.
So now the planners on Amazon, this wasn't your KDP, this is a physical one. So what's the retail price on these on Amazon?
$19.99. It was
$19.99. And then so what kind of profit margin on Amazon?
Actually before PPC, about 50%. So they're 240 landed plus small stand. We made sure that package they're 0.74 inches thick so that we can fit in small standard. So basically about a 50% or shade above 50% margin.
And then with PPC?
With PPC, like if you take launch and everything into consideration, the first 3-4 months, which was the end of last year, were we 20% net margins on including launch.
So about 20%, probably more, if we're not considering launch in there. Now, what kind of retail price did you have it on TikTok Shop? Did you still keep it at $19.99, or did you take advantage of how you can just add shipping and and TikTok pays for it, or at least they were before.
Yeah. So we did not do that where we lower the price because TikTok Shop for sellers who use seller shipping, which is what we were doing, because we were fulfilling some of it from our Amazon inventory, for example, all of it from our Amazon inventory. That if you spent $20 as a customer, they would pay for shipping. TikTok Shop meaning. So the customer would get it for free for shipping, and then TikTok Shop would reimburse us. And basically the $7.99 is like for one item, quantity of one is what they would do. So we would make the product $20 and shipping $7.99. And as long as we do that, the customer doesn't pay shipping, and we get the $20 and reimbursed for shipping at $7.99. So
all right, so on Amazon, let's say that you were taking home, after PPC and stuff, like let's say $6 or something like that, maybe $5-6 or so, which is pretty decent on Amazon. Not many people can say that. But then for that same order on TikTok Shop, how much money were you taking due to TikTok like subsidizing your fees and all this other stuff?
Yep. So basically, to break it down, so we would get the 20 minus the 20% commission that went to that creator, right? So we would get 16 for the product, plus the $7.99 for the shipping reimbursement, so $23.99 that we would receive. And TikTok pays the influencer directly. We don't have to do all that accounting, thank goodness.
Nice.
So $23.99 that we would receive, it's $240 landed, and our MCF fee to like ship and deliver an item to a customer is $8 and change, but call it $8. So $23.99 in, and around $11.50 out. So double plus.
You're double or more the profit margin for the exact same product on TikTok Shop. Now, what's this, Jenna? Are you doing some kind of are you the influencer for your own product too? Like, are you doing like lives or videos or some, or am I getting you guys confused with somebody else?
No, that's, yeah.
I mean, I do it. It's, I really, more so, I mean, they had different promotions that they were running that you could get ad credits for doing lives. That's why I don't think I get a lot of traffic. And that's really not, in my opinion, where we get a large amount of sales. The sales, I mean, especially with our group books that sold out, that was all because of videos and influencers. So it gave us ad credits, which was great. But personally, I do it for the business, but I'm not a fan of being in front of the camera any more than I need to. But I was all for, starting up a small business when they were like, I think it was like $1,500 in ad credits. I was like, I'll do it. Let's do it. You know.
That's what it was. No, you're right. During December, if you went live, a certain amount of time and spent $1,500, they would give you $1,500 in ad credit. And so we basically did that. And the day the promotion ended, they deposited 15, like they were exactly as they said it would be. And she was tortured every minute that she was live.
So I would never classify myself as an influencer. That's what I love about TikTok Shop, that you can use the professionals that do that as your influencers. Okay.
So now you guys, I mean, technically if Christmas was around, was around where you really started taking off, by the time that we're recording this podcast, maybe you can talk about your first full month of TikTok Shop. What were the gross sales on that platform?
Since if you include Christmas in that time, they're $250,000 on just TikTok Shop.
In 1 week, or 1 week, in one month.
In 1 month, in 1 30 or 72-hour period, they were $180,000. That was that Groove Books viral video, which was
crazy. Yeah. And it's amazing to me still, because we had a few large influencers that were like, 500,000 followers. And I'm like, I was the optimist for those. I'm like, this is going to be the one. And they did great videos. And the video that took off, that's what, 9 million views now. I don't know.
Yeah, over 9 million.
She had, I think, just under 40,000 input, which is still big, but it's not like the 500,000 or near 1 million followers that we had other people. So you just don't know. The video was good.
So the fact that you guys did a 250 or $250,000, does that mean that your influencers took home like $50,000 themselves for doing videos for you guys?
That influencer specifically, generated.
She's so cool.
And
single mom.
She's single
awesome.
mom. She's like the nicest person, and we were so happy because she sent a message, that the commission was like life changing. She was ready to be done with this, and she generated
40.
Her. It was 30,000 and change in commission income that she generated based on her post, and that just like that's again when it has furthered this point of like, you don't have to be the influencer because, Jenna can be Jenna and talk to the influencers, which again, we try to do like on it. Like we write cards to them when they make content, like all of those types of things. And then it's so much more natural. And the creators love doing posts on Jenna's products because she can relate to them and she cares. Like she genuinely cares. And it was so cool to see that from a couple of the moms that have had really successful posts on our products, that you just sit there and you're like, this is a great business model that even though they're increasing TikTok Shop, increasing their referral fees, no problem, worth every penny.
Yo, you guys have some hijackers on some of your, you must be out of stock or something. You guys know about that? I'm just looking at your store right now.
Yep.
All right, you guys need to take care of that. Do some test orders. Kick those guys off or something. Do you mind if I show people your product page here? No. All right, let me.
They're the worst because the shipping is like weeks and weeks and weeks. So we ordered it right away.
Yeah, it's killing. Well, I mean, the fact that's when you by the way that's when it's like until you get it fixed, where you might want to like suppress your listing, where you take out the images and then nobody can sell on it, so that you're every day that somebody has it active, you're like losing your keyword rank and your conversion rate and stuff like that. So if you don't think you're going to fix that right away, try and get your listing suppressed somehow, taking out the images, doing something.
I said this is where you're always learning in this space because these are problems that you didn't know would be problems. Inventory management, didn't know that was a problem till all of a sudden it was a problem.
Big problem.
So it's been great to have resources and help from people like Helium 10 Elite folks and other folks in the space, which is such a help because you're going through for the first time.
So then going back to your main product, which is in stock here, this is the main one that you sell on TikTok as well, right? And the ones that went viral before?
It was the first one that went viral. It's not the largest selling of our products anymore, but it's the second. And it was the one that was here first. This product released in August. Yeah, August.
Did this originally start as KDP, or this was from
scratch? Yes, I do have a KDP.
Yep. No, we did a version of this via KDP, okay. Which Jenna's author page is like amazon.com/author/Jenna Coleman. And that's where her KDP stuff is. And there's like
11 KDP
it's called like
the
advanced weekly meal planner.
Yep.
But we reached a BSR of like 2 and then it all went out of stock.
All right. So then this, and then this is what you also have on your TikTok page. And so doing some cool numbers. All right. So you showed me the other day, like there is for anybody who has an Amazon account and a Shopify account, they can literally start TikTok Shop within like, 20 minutes, would you say, or less? Or
yeah, I mean, we've had some people that have taken time to, like, if they have a sole prop, like where they don't have a business in some ways, like where they don't have an EIN or some things, there's been some people that has taken some time, but TikTok's due diligence on you as a company, the Shopify system seems to serve as enough validation for TikTok Shop that they're good to go. And you get set up pretty quick with a shop and then an ad account on the business side. And
then it pulls from their Amazon inventory. So you guys don't have a way to share your screen, but maybe you can just verbally walk through those steps. So somebody has their Amazon account, and then do they need to have the Shopify account already tied to their Amazon through like Buy with Prime?
Yeah. So good question. But not Buy with Prime for fulfilling on TikTok Shop. Buy with Prime can be used on your actual Shopify website. Like if you have your website on Shopify, but you don't actually need a website to do the TikTok, Shopify, Amazon integration. As long as you have the program Shopify. There's 2 sides to it. There's the TikTok side, and there's a native app. In other words, TikTok Shop has built an app that sits on Shopify's interface. So you can download on Shopify the TikTok app. That allows you to create your shop and create your business center and ads manager, right? So all from Shopify to TikTok shop. So it can push to TikTok. And then if you have like a personal TikTok account, it can link that to your store and convert it to a business account, basically.
In Shopify, where do they go in Shopify? If they have their Shopify account, they got their Amazon account, if they're not tied together, how do they need to get it from the Amazon App Store, the Shopify app from the Amazon App Store to tie it to their Shopify account?
In the Shopify App Store, there is a TikTok app and an Amazon MCF app. They need both.
Okay, so you do it through Shopify instead of Amazon.
We do it in the middle, yeah. And then the Amazon MCF app is what pulls from Amazon. And all they do really there is they have to sync up the SKU, right, to make sure that the SKU in Shopify matches the one in Amazon, which the app will say you're good. And then that your shipping map. So if you say standard shipping defaults to MCF standard, if you've ever done an MCF, if the person has done an MCF order, then it will say, okay, when an order comes in and you fulfill it, it's going to fulfill via whichever MCF option, standard option. So that way TikTok shop syncs immediately to Shopify. Shopify pulls the inventory and ships it. And then Shopify gives the tracking number back to TikTok shop.
And then when you set up your TikTok shop from your Shopify, and if your Shopify is already pulling in your Amazon, images and things like that, the Shopify site, it publishes all your images and description and stuff to TikTok shop, right?
Yep.
Wow. So guys, this is not rocket science where you have to know coding and a bunch of crazy things in order to get up and running. But at the same time, it's not something that, hey, you just turn it on and you make $250,000, in a month. It requires, it's heavily on influencers. So what's your guys' best suggestions of somebody's just setting up? They do everything you just said until now. They've got their Amazon store. Now they got their Shopify set up. Now they set up their TikTok shop. It's pulling. It's all tied to Shopify and tied to Amazon. How do I get eyeballs in front of my product?
The two biggest recommendations we would say is that, so I'll let her say on our account what we should have, because there are some things that you should have on your account when an influencer looks you up. It's kind of like having a website. If they go to your shop and you don't have any posts or anything, so I'll let her cover that. But on the flip side, on the affiliate side, you can go into the affiliate dashboard right inside TikTok shop, and you have immediate direct access to creators. And that is really where you can do 50 at a time, where you can reach out to. You can create a message, select a product that you want to offer them a commission to promote, and they'll receive your DM right in their affiliate dashboard that invites them to promote that product. And so being able to get in there and send 50 of those a day to reach out to folks that are relevant to at least your audience, and be careful not just going after huge, creators. You're able to see how each creator does. You're able to see their sales, their engagement, all that kind of stuff. And you can go and directly reach out and just use the hard work method instead of the, blast or spend money just throwing money to build your awareness. You can do just manual reach outs. But then on our page,
so I would say, I think in the beginning, no matter what, it's hard to get influencers to talk to you because you haven't had any product sales, right? They can see how much you've made. So I think it's really important to focus on connecting with them. And I think a lot of influencers, when they're sharing a product, they don't just want to know what it is and how much it is. They want to know the story behind it. So a lot of the ones that we connected with, especially some of the bigger influencers where they have plenty of options of what to share, they kind of want to know the story behind your product. And a lot of people love to know when there is a small business owner behind it. Why did you create it? Who are you? What went into this? And that helps in connecting in the story. So a lot of them use that I've connected with the fact that I'm a homeschool parent, and a lot of them are homeschool parents in terms of some of the educational stuff, or other ones I've connected with. I'm a former public school teacher too, and they connected the fact that we were both educators. Some of it is mom life and connecting with, busy and meal planning and just connecting in different ways. So if you're just honest about your story, sometimes it's the things that surprised me that we had connections on, that they were like, wow, that's really cool. I also have a kid, with allergies on a specific diet that, I saw, you created a meal planner or something. And so different ways to connect the making of your products and sharing in those. Like I try to do reels a little bit on that. And sometimes that will help, because I think when they're considering, they go through and see some of your reels that you've created, not just your products. They don't just go to your storefront. I will notice they'll sometimes like my reels, and my reels don't have many views. A lot of them have like 100, a couple hundred, but the influencers will go and check to see, and sometimes I'll talk about why I made the product the way I did or the features of it. So I really tried to push on that in the beginning, because I think that helped connect with influencers. But then once you do have a product that goes viral and they see that you have a business that could help them as well, then they come to you. But it doesn't start that way.
Then they come to you, right?
So now it's different, which is nice. But I would say in the beginning, the pessimist in me, I was like, oh my goodness, how are we ever going to get them to come to us? Or we're a small business that haven't proven that we can make, but it really does.
Yeah.
It does change.
When you go into that portal, there's probably 100,000 influencers, a million influencers, whatever in there. How are you picking and choosing those 50 that you want to reach out to first?
Really the same way that I think they're choosing us. I try to find people that connect with our brand. So when they're talking about educational stuff or their kids, or I see that they have an interest in recipes and cooking and things like that, we try to find ways that are natural connections. So that's part of it. But
because you can search by interest.
Yes.
So in the affiliate dashboard, you can search by interest.
Right. And then that's the really cool part about it. To have that background view into people that are going to be sharing your products, you can go see what they're all about on their page. So it doesn't take long, but we usually spend time checking out their page before we even message someone. All
right, now before we get into some just quick hitting strategies from you guys, if people want to reach out to you, I mean, they can obviously see your brand, and I just showed it, Graceful by Design. But if people want to reach out to you guys for more questions or help with either TikTok or KDP or any of your specialties, how can they find you guys on the interwebs out there?
The interwebs. I would say the best place is, Jenna at gracefulbydesign.com.
I do check on at Graceful by Design for TikTok, or Instagram. It's at Graceful by Design LLC. But either one of those, I do check the messaging in there. But yeah, it is.
Let's go ahead and get into your 60-second tip or 60-second strategy. Maybe one each. Give us any strategy that you think will be beneficial to our listeners.
I'm going to do a quick strategy on folks who are newer or who are getting into, maybe wanting to get into the space, in case someone like that is watching. Because this has been, a real thing for us over the past year from, building this together. And I would say that the biggest thing in e-com is that you have to remember is that cash flow timing and the business, right? The real business aspects of any business hold true in e-com, right? So cash flow timing, when you're thinking about getting into a business and you see, again, some of the courses out there that just say, things are easy and things are this, and you can make money quickly and all those types of things. I just would say that from a cautionary perspective that, remember, this is a business that costs money. And when you sell more on something like Amazon or TikTok Shop, you need more reserves that they hold, and you have to spend more on inventory. And so that's just like a fundamental business practice that I wanted to make sure, we said, is that it's not a, fairy tale industry. It's a hard work, business, real business. And I feel like that gets blushed over a little bit with a lot of the things that are out there. So that's just in general a principle. And then my way less than 60-second tip is that, your biggest strength still is your brand. And to build a strategy today without a brand, I think, is just challenging, because then you can just be you. So when you're reaching out to influencers or you're designing product, you can really actually relate to it in addition to it being good research and all that kind of stuff, because people know whether you care about what it is that you're selling or making.
Well, it's been really great to see your journey, from just learning about TikTok Shop at that conference, and then, selling out, and then guys, nobody can hire me just out there, so I don't have any website or anything, but they're now my customers for my family running 3PLs, because I have a warehouse here, and I found out that they were struggling with shipping. So I'm like, hey, let me take your planners here and let me have my family help you guys ship. So they're shipping 20, 30 of these planners all the time. So like it's really cool to firsthand see your growth, and now you're putting food on the table of that one influencer. Well, now you're employing my family as well. So you're changing lives here left and right. And I'm sure you're changing lives with people who have listened to this episode, learning about the potential on KDP with TikTok Shop as well. So we'll definitely want to reach back out to you guys next year and see how we just got with you on your first full month of TikTok Shop. Let's see what happens after a full year of Amazon and TikTok Shop. You guys will be probably have some cool stories to share. So thank you so much for joining us.